FDR, Hoover made the mistake of denying the depth of the Depression, that it was just a short-term bounce. It would come back. He didn't do anything big. He believed that he should play it down. FDR obviously went 180 degrees the other way. And I think the more of Biden doing that I'm going to go big. I'm going to help the businesses. I'm going to help people. I'm going to throw everything at this. Forget about pretending it doesn't exist. It's going to be the only thing that exists in terms of our engine for recovery. I think that this race looks a lot more like that than people are thinking right now. Amy Gregory, Howard Dean, appreciate you both. We'll be speaking plenty. 7 days is going to sound like 7 months at the end of it. All right, so another aspect of this that we have to drill into is this record early.
Tina Closa. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Guess you can hear me okay.
Okay. This is for 1508 Teresa Avenue, right? Am I in the right meeting?
Hi there.
Yes.
Yeah, you're the second item. So I think
Sorry.
yours is starting at 6:50.
Okay, sorry.
No worries.
Hi, Naz. Are we waiting on Maggie?
Yes, it looks like we can give her a couple more minutes if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
And I do have the applicant for my item here in the meeting. Yeah, just Maggie.
Hey, Naz. I guess give it until 6:35, which is probably about now. And shall we kick off?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Maybe just another minute and then just get started.
Okay.
Ryan, are you there? Can you, I guess, unlock the screen?
Okay, go ahead. See.
I'm not able to start my video. It says the host has stopped it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and get started, and then maybe Maggie will join us.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so the first item is an application for a modification to a previous site and architectural review permit at 201 Rose Court. So this property is zoned R2, which is multifamily residential, and it's located on Rose Court, which is between West Campbell Avenue here, Rincon Avenue is here, and South Winchester Boulevard is to the right. The project site is currently developed with an 8-unit, 2-story apartment building located here. It's kind of an L shape and a detached carport. And this was developed in 1968. Also, there's uncovered parking spaces on either side of the carport. There's 4 garage spaces, 1 here and 3 here. And above it is a second floor patio area. So the proposal would include the remodel of the existing apartment building, and that would include conversion of the 1-car garage into living area. So then that parking space would be replaced here within the expanded carport structure. And then the expansion would also include a new trash enclosure and a storage shed. Then the parking spaces that were provided here would then be relocated as tandem parking in front of the 3 garage spaces. So actually, if you go back to the previous photo, it was historically being used as parking. It wasn't formally parking, but it does meet the dimensions to count as parking spaces. And the proposal would also include upgrades to the materials. There'd be new stucco and stained wood horizontal siding on the walls and composition shingle roofing, new doors and windows, as well as other accent materials like railing and fencing. And the carport expansion would match or maintain the existing roof form, and the materials would match the main building for consistency. So that's my brief overview of the project, and it looks like we do have the applicant here. If you had anything to add, or if we want to just get into any feedback from the SARC.
Hello, this is Levent, architect. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm the architect. I can help with any questions.
Okay, so let me go ahead and get out of here and I'll stop sharing. Okay, and okay, so it looks like it's still just you.
So, well, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks for taking the time. I don't know if you know much about SARC. This is the Architectural Review Committee. Usually we have a couple of commissioners on there. And this is really just to give you some type of feedback prior to the Planning Commission public hearing, which is often scheduled a couple of weeks out from this. So we don't have any power to make any decisions. It's really just giving people feedback and also giving the Planning Commission feedback for the public hearing. I guess a question to that is, this development seems to, it seems to be an upgrade to the existing property. Why is this coming up to the Planning Commission? And why isn't it just a normal permitting process?
So one of the reasons is the expansion of the carport structure.
Okay.
So that's part of it, and then that then involves some reconfiguration of the parking areas, and then I would say on its own, if it was just kind of some material upgrades, that's something that we could process just through a building permit. But when you start kind of reconfiguring things through the site or expanding the structures, it then needs to go back to, because it had a previous site and architectural review permit, it now has to go back to the original decision makers, which was the Planning Commission.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And as I understand it, it's deficient on a couple of car parking spaces to the current ordinance, but because this was basically built a long time ago, right? That doesn't apply, and we're not losing any spaces here. We're maintaining the same number of spaces, but they're moving to a tandem location.
Correct. And so, yeah, they're maintaining what they have. If they were, adding an additional unit or increasing the number of bedrooms, then expansion of the actual livable area, that could then trigger the requirement for the parking that would be required now. But they're not expanding the actual apartment building, and they're actually adding one space.
Right. Thank you. I guess a question for Mr. Levent. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I see you've got the tandem parking, which is quite difficult to manage because people want to get out and the car behind is stopping them. How do you intend to manage that with your tenants?
The whole idea was that, the tandem parkings can belong to one specific unit, each one. So if two cars are parked behind each other as a tandem, that will be both stalls will belong to one of the units.
Okay, great.
Not separated.
Right. Okay, so that should lessen the problem.
Correct. Based on the existing parking spaces, now we have more, and we added one extra to the carport, and there was one very, very narrow substandard parking, covered parking, that it was not really usable, and it's cutting through the entire courtyard, and which we didn't feel like it is safe, so it became a little bedroom. But in lieu of that, we have now extra 2 more parking stalls. So our total parking number is more than what it was. In terms of covered parking places, comparing what they had, we still have the same number of covered parking places, but we added these tandem ones as extra because, it's existing building and there is no way to make it complying with the current codes. So whatever we could do, that was the best we could do to increase the number of parking stalls, tandem parking.
Thank you. No, that sounds manageable. I know that often comes up at the commission. People ask about that. So thank you for explaining the tactics there. And outside the building on the street, there's a number of type of mature trees there. Are there any plans to change the cut down trees or change the landscaping there?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't remember now, but we submitted an arborist report. Some of them will be trimmed. I think 1 or 2, they were not healthy on the arborist report. As far as I remember, they were supposed to be removed later. Yeah.
Right.
So I'll just that there are 2 fruit trees that are going to be removed, and those are exempt from the tree protection ordinance.
Correct.
But there's a couple more shrub-like plants, not necessarily trees, but then the actual trees are going to be preserved.
Yes.
Right.
If it comes up that they're not in good health, then they would need to apply for a tree removal permit, and then it would be replaced.
Because the actual street is quite a nice street, it's quite green. So, maintaining that outside the apartment complex would be a concern with the commission, and we would encourage people to maintain that, if not enhance the landscaping, which I remember, I think there is a plan, but removal of trees and would be an issue. And there's the first floor patio decking, is that correct? And that's being maintained?
The second floor.
Second floor,
deck?
sorry, first. Sorry, England, it's ground
right.
floor, first floor, sorry, second floor.
Okay.
We're weird from the UK.
So that is existing, and it was that was part of the original approval. So that's going to be maintained because there is also a required amount of open space that needs to be provided for each unit. So that is providing the open space for the upstairs units.
And is there an house down the first floor open units in terms of open space on that?
So
provided?
Yeah. Let me go ahead and bring up the site plan.
Jim is here right now, so.
Okay, thank you. So, so right now, these areas along the sides and the rear, those are kind of the open spaces for the ground floor units, and that would be maintained. So each unit on the ground floor would have their own kind of yard area. And then, so there's a unit here and a unit here. They share this second floor patio.
Okay.
And then the 2 units here, they have balconies that will be maintained.
Right. And I guess the lawns and the grounds on the first floor are going to be, well, I guess maintained and enhanced, updated, because it's an old development.
Yes, there's not really anything out there now, or I think there was at one point, but just over time wasn't, over a few decades wasn't really maintained, but it's going to be redone with, they'll have patios and then plantings throughout the area. So it'll be kind of refreshed.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, from what I can tell from the architectural drawings or the drawings, it looks a nice upgrade. Seems to be in fitting with the area street, although it's quite individual on the structures there, but it's certainly not out of place. It looks like an enhancement, an upgrade. The other commissioners might have comments on the styling, but I don't see anything wrong with it. It looks pretty good. I like the wooden kind of effects or the wooden siding. Thank you. On the second floor, because I think that makes it look more contemporary and generally enhancing it. So to me, it looks like a nice development.
Okay, thank you. Let me. Okay, so still no Maggie. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for the comments, Stuart. And if there's nothing else,
Unless the applicant has any questions,
But yeah, this would be scheduled for the next planning commission meeting.
Which is the
And
10th,
then
10th of November.
yes, November 10th. And so then at that meeting, there's the full commission, and then they make a decision on the project.
Okay.
We are anxious to get started.
I don't see anything that jumps out to me that will be an issue. Obviously, I can't speak for my fellow commissioners, but it looks like a good development.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Wish you luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.
For the next meeting,
you.
I think it may be important for me. Right now, I don't see myself on the screen as small picture. Do I have to do something here to open my video? Oh, okay. I guess. No.
There you are.
Okay.
All right.
Now we see you.
Meeting is
Okay.
over and I discovered it.
It's trying to filter you out, Levent.
Yes, unfortunately, yeah. All right.
Okay. Thank
November 10th.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Naz.
Thank you. And now we got Stephen.
Thank you. All right, so that brings us up to item 2 on the agenda. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen as well. We can go ahead and get started. Okay, so thank you and good evening, Commissioner Ching. Thank you again for being present and here tonight. This particular project site is located on the east side. It's 1508 Teresa Avenue. It's located on the east side of Teresa. It's north of West Parr Avenue, as you see there on the map, the city limit line as well, and it's south of Chapman Drive. The property is about 9,000 square feet, zoned R18. It's located in the San Tomas area neighborhood plan, and there's an existing single-family home on the property, which is to be removed. So as far as the applicant's request is concerned, they are requesting approval of a site and architecture review permit to allow for the construction of a new 3,439 square foot, 2-story single-family home with a 465 square foot garage, and that includes an ADU on the ground floor. Even with the ADU, the project is maintaining and staying under the maximum, at 41%, staying under the maximum floor area ratio of 45%. And the maximum lot coverage of 35% for the R18 zone district. So in review of this particular permit, staff did a little bit of an interesting analysis of this particular street on Teresa. The predominant character of homes on this block are 1-story. So we did note there's 3 2-story homes, including the one existing home, which is up here. I hope you guys can see my mouse, which is to be removed. So at the end of the day, after this home's removed, there'd be 2 other 2-story homes plus the new one that's being added back. Because the street is predominantly characterized by 1-story homes, it might warrant a little bit more than the usual amount of discretion on the design and the treatment of the second floor, which is pretty much what we've done here. Now, looking at the other 2 1-story homes on the block, as you can tell here, they're kind of characterized by large first-story porches and patios, prominent front entries. The second floor is diminished as a result. It's also only covering a portion of the first floor area. And similarly, if you're taking a look at this is the proposed project now. Similarly, this project has a large prominent front entry porch, a substantial ground floor single-story element, which would be prominent from the street. You see the garage area over here. Pretty much the second floor is recessed and pushed back from the street on this back right area over here. And so it's also kind of successful in that regard. I mean, it's kind of pulling in architectural elements. It's simple, traditional roof forms and design. And it uses materials as well, which help it kind of fit in with the neighborhood and the streetscape. So you're seeing kind of replication of some of these architectural elements. It's like looking at this existing 2-story home in the bottom left, and you comparing to the proposed 2-story home here. You're seeing that similar, central gable element, again, another gable. I guess in this case, it's a garage versus this little patio element, as well as other colors and materials, which kind of help tie it into the neighborhood. So the other thing I wanted to mention, just going back a slide, is even with the second-story floor addition, it's about half of the the front facade is the second story because of the way that they've designed it. So from looking at it from the street, I mean, you're going to see a majority of the home, or just about a majority of the home, being characterized by this lower slung one-story element. So just to really try to facilitate discussion of this project, staff had raised 2 points for consideration. And the first is whether or not there should be any change to the second floor design. It just help this particular project either fit in with the neighborhood or fit in with the streetscape. And that could be changes to the massing, the bulk, the offsets, or it could be material or color choices, which could maybe help it fit in. And again, yeah, just going on to the second point is, are there any changes to colors and materials which may be appropriate? Now, I want to add that staff is supportive of the project as proposed. We think that they've kind of struck a good balance here in terms of design, but we're interested to hear feedback and comments. And with that, I'll stop sharing and we can go ahead and start our discussion.
Sure. Would the applicant like to say anything first?
Yes, hello. My name's Aman Dulay, and I'm trying to share my screen, but it's not sharing, but it's okay. I'll just talk. So one thing I wanted to just let you know, this is our second round of comments that we submitted to planning. Before the first design we submitted, our roof pitch was 512 because we got a comment from one of the neighbors because of the height and the mass. We reduced the pitch to 412. So we've dropped down the height of the overall height by more than a foot and a half. So we've tried to do that. And yeah, we did work quite a bit on the design to make sure it fits in with the neighborhood. So I'm hoping it gets approved, but we can discuss if you have any other questions.
Sure, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's very sympathetic, and I think you and the planning department have obviously worked hard to find a type of blend of the traditional and the more contemporary. I'm not a professional in this area. I'm a layperson, so it can be contrite of me to say, well, it should be this slightly this different color or different style. To me, simplistically, it looks like a nice, sympathetic design. There doesn't seem to be anything that type of stands out to me that makes me think it doesn't fit in with the neighborhood or that particular street. The existing house, I believe, is 2 stories, so it's not as though you're going from 1 story to 2 story. So there's nothing really.
The existing is 2 story. The existing house is 2 story.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you. So it's not as though you're going from a 1 story and you're putting a 2 story, which can be more of an issue sometimes with the privacy side. You're replacing a 2 story with a 2 story.
Yes.
And it's type of a contemporary take on the other houses in the area and down the street. So it looks good to me. There's nothing that type of jumps out that I would say that, again, can't speak for the other commissioners, that they would feel uncomfortable about or say that it doesn't fit into the neighborhood or it's too big or too overbearing. And you've worked with your neighbor on the height, which is appreciated.
Yep.
Commissioner Ching, I'll just add, I do see that we have one more member in attendance today. It's not one of our panelists, it's an attendee. So if we want to invite Dave Call, if you have any comments or you'd like to speak briefly on this item, just go ahead and let us know. If not, if you're just observing, that's fine as well.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
Thank you for the offer. I've worked with Lee Sotir, the owner builder, on I think it's 3 previous homes. I can't, I'm not going to try to address fitting in with the neighborhood. I will say that you've got a builder that is the kind of builder you want to attract to the city of Campbell. I see the type of effort she puts into her homes. I see the reception her homes get from the buyers, the buying market as they come through. And on both ends, it is exceptional. I've been selling real estate for close to 40 years in the West Valley. And a lot of that has been with building of new homes in projects similar to this. And quite honestly, I've never seen an owner builder more personally involved with providing a quality product as what I've seen Lee Soter do on her homes. If it strengthens her proposal, I could give you a couple homes she's done within the last couple of years that are very well received in the neighborhood and exceptional homes for quality people that you want to attract to the city of Campbell. Because I will say, and I don't want to be antagonistic in saying this, but I've, going back into the 80s, starting the city of Saratoga, I've sat with many builders, listening to their proposed homes be discussed. And the item that is of primary discussion is fitting into the neighborhood. And I've also repeatedly seen that what is not deemed to be appropriate for the neighborhood in this current year turns out to 5 years later being the norm for the neighborhood. It's somewhat of a regressive approach to say that it has to fit in with homes that were built in the 60s when we're looking at people that are paying exorbitant amounts of money just for lots that where they do a tear down and would like to build not a palace, not a monument, but just a nice, comfortably sized home that in due time will be the end product for most of the homes in a given neighborhood. Thank you for the time. I'd be glad to put any more if requested.
No, thank you, Dave. That's great input, and it's good to hear that the applicant is going to build based on experience, going to build a quality, attractive home. So I appreciate it, and I do take your point. We can't just build houses like we did 50, 60 years ago, and progressing with the style, but not completely building something which isn't fitting into the existing street is probably what we need to do. And I think this is quite a good reflection of that. It's a contemporary take. Is not just replicating the past. It's moving forward, but also being sensitive to the existing structures. So I think it's a nice proposal.
All right. Well, not to belabor the point, but if we believe this project is a good proposal as presented, we can just go ahead and forward this with a recommendation to the Planning Commission. And we can, I'm not sure if any other speakers, property owners would like to speak on the item, but I'm not seeing any at this
David,
time.
I have a correction on the lot coverage. Maybe I can just send you my, I believe it should be 29.1%, the lot coverage.
Sorry, I just muted myself. You want to send me that via email?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to take a look at it.
Sure.
It's possible that was I'll take a look at that.
Okay.
So the only question didn't come up was removing protected trees. I didn't see any requests for that. So
yeah, this particular project isn't removing any protected trees. There are some small trees which are being removed along the front. One of the interesting things, maybe a complication, if any, is that one of the trees appears to be off the property line. So it requires a little bit of coordination with the Public Works Department. They're not exactly, it's not a candidate tree. It's not like a redwood, oak, cedar, or ash. It's not a protected tree species. Kind of a smaller tree. The most notable and largest tree, which is visible from the street, is the one that's in front of the home. I can pull up a street view. But that tree is proposed to remain. Okay. I believe it's I'm not looking. I can probably pull up the plants here. I thought it was a magnolia tree from my review of it from the street view. But Again, it's not a protected tree.
And I think Mr. Cool would like has a comment on that as well. If I saw a chat come up.
Thank you. My opening comment is somewhat in jest that Lise Sotir is the grandma of all tree huggers.
Yeah.
This lady loves trees and landscaping. When she does the landscaping on her homes, you will pull up to the home in progress and you'll see this little tiny lady out there on her hands and knees digging and shoveling and whatever. She's very personally involved in the landscaping and especially the trees. I believe in all of her previous projects, whether there was concern on the government entity regarding trees, she has been lavish in her placement of new trees. She is she's your best friend when it comes to putting trees on property, whether requested by yourselves or not.
Oh, that's good to hear because and I think quite a few of my fellow commissioners are tree huggers, so we can join in a tree hug. So that's good to hear.
Yeah,
Dave.
she'll party with you real well on the tree hugging.
So the drawings for the planning commission hearing, will that? I guess that will include some of the landscaping drawings as well.
We have them. We have them.
Okay, that would be good to hear because the concern over the canopy and the loss of canopy, and Campbell is the city of trees, I think it is. So that always is an issue. So if you can show that would only help.
Yes, we have a planting plan and the irrigation,
Yeah.
everything set. Yeah.
Am I available to speak?
Please.
I might add that along with her placement of new trees and saving existing trees, she puts heavy emphasis on drought-tolerant landscaping. You're going to find that water conservation.
Succulents.
Oh, she is the queen of succulents besides tree hugging. You know what you really ought to do, because I think this lady plans on doing more business in the city of Campbell, is come take a look at some of her jobs. It really is the poster child for what you want to see in the city of Campbell as far as design, trees, landscaping, ADUs, the whole set.
Yeah, I'd love to. Maybe include a couple of pictures in the application for the rest of the commission to see previous buildings. I'm sure they'd be very interested in that.
I have professional photos of previous homes that she has built and sold, and I would be glad to provide pictures to show you what she does. It is phenomenal.
No, that would be great. Thank you. Okay. I think that's it from me. Unless anybody else has got anything to say.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add. I do have the street view and the landscape plan available if you wanted to take a look at it real quick. But we'll be taking a look at it again at Planning Commission. And it's a large magnolia tree that they're preserving in the front. It's kind of a smaller, scraggly tree being removed.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Yep, thank you. And I've got enough feedback, and I'll look forward to your email as well.
Great.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.